Have you ever felt threatened by one of your girlfriend's male colleagues? How would you handle this guy's situation? John's wife, I'll call her Nicole, works as a nurse. For the past 3 months, Nicole has been working alongside a cool, funny new doctor whose patients and colleagues all love him. I'll call him Dr. Rick. Now, hearing this description about your wife's male colleague could be worrying, but John wasn't concerned because Nicole also describes him as a silly little old man. However, this description would soon change when John and Nicole joined Nicole's colleague, I'll call her Jackie, and her husband for dinner one night. Jackie quoted one of Dr. Rick's jokes, and after blushing and smiling, Nicole quickly turned to John and quietly said, "He's such a silly old man." This reaction was strange, so John decided to investigate. "Hey Jackie, what do you think of Dr. Rick? Is it nice to have an old, experienced pair of hands to work alongside?" Jackie seemed confused by the question. Dr. Rick is great at what he does, but at 37, he's hardly an old man. Before John could respond, Nicole hurriedly called for the waiter to bring over another bottle of wine. Finding her behavior unusual, on the drive home, John questioned Nicole about Dr. Rick. "I thought you said this guy was old. He's 37. And she replied, "Well, he's old to me." Now, if Nicole was 19 or 20, this response would be understandable, but she's 31, and a 6-year age gap is hardly enough to call someone old. John kept pressing, but Nicole brushed it off and then eventually said, "Can you please stop obsessing over this guy?" Over the following weeks, Nicole didn't really mention Dr. Rick, so John didn't really think about him either. That was until Nicole was called away for a medical conference one weekend with John, Jackie, and a couple of other doctors and nurses. John hung around at home that weekend, drank some beers, watched the football, and it was pretty uneventful. When Nicole returned that Sunday afternoon, something seemed different. She was distant, yet on edge. She blamed the long flight and tiresome, boring weekend, but John wasn't buying it. And so later that evening, while Nicole was taking a shower, John decided to go through her phone. There were a couple of messages from Dr. Rick, but nothing suspicious, and this relieved John, until he was just about to put the phone down, and she got a new message from Jackie. And it read, "Stop stressing about DH. It's good that he's married. It means your secret is safe." Reading this immediately set off alarm bells for John. Although DH wasn't Dr. Rick's initials, so surely she wasn't talking about him. He knew he needed more information before he could confront Nicole about the message, so the next night at dinner, he casually mentioned how the doctors' busy work schedules must make life hard for their husbands and wives. Then he asked which doctors were married, and when he got to Dr. Rick, Nicole nervously responded, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he's single." Given the initials and relationship status from Jackie's message didn't match Dr. Rick, John felt a sense of calm. But over the following days, Nicole continued to be distant, and so he still had a strange gut feeling about things. And the only way he could overcome this feeling was by meeting Dr. Rick and looking him in the eye. So later that week, John made a surprise visit to Nicole's hospital to deliver sushi from her favorite Japanese restaurant. As he made his way down the corridor to the nurse's desk, he heard laughter. And sure enough, Dr. Rick was standing behind the desk, accompanied by 2 nurses who were cackling at one of his jokes. John's first thought when he saw Dr. Rick was, this guy is anything but a silly little old man. He's cool, good looking, and at least 6 feet tall. One of the nurses recognized John, greeted him, and told him she would alert Nicole of his presence. Overhearing this, Dr. Rick appeared confused. "How do you know Nicole?" he asked. John replied, "I'm her husband." Dr. Rick appeared confused. Bud didn't know Nicole was married. He could instantly tell his answer made John uncomfortable, so he fumbled and added, "I guess we're so focused on our patients at work that we don't have much of a chance to learn about our colleagues." Then he nervously swiped his hand through his hair, and that's when John saw it. His wedding ring. Dr. Rick excused himself, then hurriedly shuffled down the corridor. And one of the nurses, who noted his unusual exit, asked the other, "What's up with Dr. Hoddy leaving in such a hurry?" And then it clicked. DH in Jackie's message wasn't the initials of a name. It stood for Dr. Hoddy. John immediately felt sick, left the sushi on the desk, and told the nurse, "There's been an emergency at work. Please tell Nicole I said hi." Then he spent the next hour in his car, wondering how to handle this situation.